morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout-out goes to Yuval. Yuval was first to say first. Actually, he said primero, but that's what it means. So he was a shout-out in this video. Congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and I have a neat new airplane for you today, folks. This is the Volantex BF109 version 2. What's special about the version 2? Well, first of all, it's a much better looking one with this clear canopy. They now have a clear canopy version. This one has auto takeoff capability. The newer V2 versions all seem to have this auto takeoff capability. I'll describe that shortly, what that exactly is. Now, first off, again, I mentioned this is from Volantex. Volantex wanted me to mention that they have their own website now, folks, exhobby.com. I'll include that link to their website where you can get this on their website. That's the main reason for this review, folks. We're advertising. EX Hobby is finally, or Volantex finally has their own website where they're selling their aircraft on, folks. So that's a cool feature there. So let's talk about this new BF109. Very good looking airplane. One of the best looking of the Warbird series, I got to say about this BF109. This and the Mustang V2 are the best looking Warbirds, in my opinion, currently out there. A really good looking airplane, especially with that clear canopy, as you can see, folks, up close there. Weighs only 62 grams. What does that mean? With a battery installed, that means that this aircraft does not require registration or remote ID in most countries, folks. That's neat in itself right there. It comes ready to fly with an included transmitter, ready to go with the aircraft. Already built. The only thing you need to actually do is install these two landing gear wheels. They just slide in and pop into place, and you're ready to go. Charge up the batteries, of course. You put some batteries in the transmitter, and then you're ready to go. Let's say that. Now, it is a true 4-channel airplane. What does that mean? That means we have throttle control, we have elevator control, we have rudder control, and we have aileron control through this X cross brace here, controlling the two elevators on the aircraft. So we do have true 4-channel control, so you can do actually loops and rolls with this in manual mode, and even it'll do loops and rolls in the automatic modes too with a press of a button. So that's cool too, in effect. It's constructed of flexible and crash-resistant EPP foam. This will take knocks pretty good. Just make sure to fly in grassy fields, folks. I always recommend new pilots fly in grassy fields. Don't fly over asphalt or concrete, or you're going to ding up your aircraft, because everybody crashes. Everybody crashes. And you'll minimize the damage, is what I'm saying, if you fly in a grassy field. Okay? I can't stress that enough, especially to beginner pilots. Okay, now it is powered by a brush motor, but it's a 1020 brush motor. 1020s give plenty of power to these Warbirds. All the Warbirds are powered by the 1020. And, they do eventually fail with a lot of use, okay, folks? I haven't had any of my Warbirds fail on me yet. But if you do need to change that, you can change that motor through this access port here. It's removable, and then you can gain access to the motor and the gearbox in there to change it. Now, additionally, this comes with two two-bladed and two three-bladed propellers. The two-bladed tend to give more power, but if you want to go for speed, go with the three-bladed, folks. So I'm going to start off with the two-bladed. If I don't like the two-bladed, I'm going to switch to the three-bladed out in the field, because these easily pop on and off, okay? They're really easy to change. You just pop them on and pop them off like so. Okay, they're held in place by friction. So very easy to change it. And the reason these come off so easily in a crash is to protect both the propeller and the motor and the gearbox and the shaft, the motor shaft in a crash. If it's kept on, you can burn out the motors, especially if you got the power going to the motor. But having it pop off like that protects the motor and the propellers and the gear system. So that's a protection feature, folks, to make it easy to remove and change, and also easy to switch between propellers if you wish to switch between power and speed on that. Now, it's available with 3 selectable flight modes on the controller. Let's go right into the controller here, folks. The controller enables you to switch between expert, where you're manually flying the aircraft using the sticks alone. There's no help from the gyro systems. And then Let's start off with beginner. I went right into manual. Let's go right into beginner. Beginner, you switch this all the way forward like so. And in beginner position, this has a stabilization system inside of it, a gyroscopic stabilization system that detects the pitch of the aircraft and roll of the aircraft. And it prevents the aircraft from exceeding a maximum roll angle or pitch angle to help you maintain control of the aircraft and help prevent going into weird orientation like this, which would result in a crash. Additionally, if you get hit with a big wind gust and it does start going to the ground in a weird orientation like that, and you're in beginner mode like that, just let go of this right stick and this aircraft will quickly and automatically right itself to flat position like so. Okay, so very important for beginner flyers to have that capability. Now it also has a mid position on the controller if you switch it like so, and that turns off the angle restrictions for pitch, so that you can actually do manual loops of the aircraft out in the field. And if you get into trouble while upside down in mid position and you lose orientation and you don't know what you're doing, let go of that stick again, that right stick again, and we'll automatically, quickly maintain the level position of the aircraft to prevent a crash. But if you're feeling really gutsy and you do have some skills, you are a more experienced pilot, you can move the switch all the way to the forward position and turn off those angle restrictions entirely and fly it manually, folks. Now, these little 400 millimeter wingspan aircraft are very lightweight, and in manual position, they are very difficult to fly. So you better be a good pilot before trying that manual position, or be flying on a very low wind day, a windless day, before attempting that. Let me just get that out right now, folks. Not easy to fly these little ones in manual mode. So, at least not easy for me. I'm sure there are others out there. I know some of my readers. I know the ones exactly who are going to chime in and say, I do it all the time. So, I fly it manually all the time. But yeah, not me though. So, okay. Let's talk about the controller some more. It has a stunt button. This is neat. Okay, this does three things that you can do with the stunt button. You can do automatic takeoff of the aircraft. And what that does is, before you give the aircraft throttle, after you've bound it, before you give it any throttle at all to fly though, press this button and you'll start to hear it beeping. Let's see if I can get that to do that. You hear that beeping? And then you give it some throttle. Okay, and then the aircraft, the motors will start as you give it throttle. Just toss it into the air, and this aircraft in auto takeoff will climb to set altitude and then start to circle. And it'll continue to circle until you give it some stick command on the right stick. So that is a neat feature in itself to help beginner pilots get into the air. Other features of this acrobatic button is if you're in the air and you're giving the aircraft throttle and it's flying, if you press this button, it'll start beeping again. And if you wanted to do an automatic aileron roll, just move the sticks right or left, this right stick right or left, and it'll do it on aileron roll. Press it again, and you want to do a loop. Give it some throttle before you do this. Pull back on this stick, and it will do a loop. So it does automatic aileron rolls and automatic loops with this controller button. Additionally, it does have a one-key return capability, and this one is kind of an iffy thing to use. It doesn't work always the way I intended to when I try to fly it. But you set the position, I believe, by pulling down on the throttle trim button, and when you're in the air, if you want it to return to you, keeping in mind that you're flying down in the direction that the aircraft was pointed when you took off, press this button upward, and it should do a U-turn and start flying back to you. Again, this is very iffy. I recommend you try this in a big open field before actually trying to depend on that to bring it home to you, because it's not true return to home. There's no GPS in this airplane, so as a return to home feature, it is not to be depended on, is what I'm saying to you folks. Other things about it. It has telemetry warning into controller. It warns you of low battery and also of weak signal from the controller. If the airplane's not receiving sufficient signal from the controller, you're getting far at the end of its range, it'll warn you with a rapid beeping. So if you hear that, bring it back, bring it closer to you, because you're too far away. You don't want it to lose the controller, because once it loses sense of the controller, the motor will stop and all the controls will go to neutral, and it will glide in for a landing wherever it's at. So again, if you hear that rapid beeping, bring the aircraft back to you. It also has, again, a low battery warning, which is a slow beeping. In that case, again, bring it back to you and land it, because if you're beeping from this controller, it's time to land, is what I'm trying to say, folks. It's time to bring it closer to you or land it. Other things, let's see. Now, it's a very efficient flyer with these 3.7 volt, 400 milliamp hour batteries. They're predicting up to 20 minutes flight time. I'm going to guess it's going to be under about 15. Most of the Warbirds fly around 15 minutes with these 400 milliamp hour batteries. And finally, before we go out in the field, it has multi-protocol capability using the V761 protocol. I'm going to try to demonstrate that out in the field. I already have this bound to the aircraft with mine, or set up with my T-light here. So if you have a multi-protocol transmitter, you need V761 protocol to bind this with the aircraft. So remember that V761 protocol to bind the Volantex aircraft with multi-protocol transmitters. So that is the BF109. Again, let's take another good look, close-up look at the aircraft. Really nice looking airplane. I like it. I like the look of this thing, and especially like the clear canopy versus the other version, the V1 version with the foam canopy. That was just dull looking, but this one really makes the aircraft shine. I like it. So let's take this out into the field, folks, and see how it flies. So hope you enjoy this flight.
Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and welcome to a somewhat breezy day here at beautiful Pleasant Ridge Park. I got a wind coming about 5 to 7 miles per hour coming from that direction, and I already have it bound to the controller, so we're going to launch in that direction. But to launch, today we are going to use that automatic takeoff. Now keep in mind, supposedly it's supposed to climb, and then it's going to start doing circles. Now those circles are going to blow with the wind, so expect them to go overhead here. So we'll see how this actually works out. Okay, pressing for automatic takeoff, giving throttle. Actually, I haven't bonded yet. Giving it throttle, and there it goes, an automatic takeoff. Okay, I'm taking over now. So what it did, folks, it climbs to avoid beginners crashing into the ground with it. Okay, that wind is really picking up a bit here, but let's bring it down. I am in beginner mode, okay? In beginner mode, it's actually working well in beginner mode here. But again, in beginner mode, you're restricted in the amount of, where to go? You're restricted in the amount of bank angle that you can do in pitch angle. So what I'm going to do next, folks, is switch to intermediate mode. Okay, oops, I was in intermediate mode. I take that back. Now I'm in beginner mode. Much smoother flyer now in beginner mode. Come back down here. We're going to stay in beginner mode for a second, folks, and then we'll go into intermediate, and I'll show you what you can do in intermediate mode. I'm sorry, I was in beginner or intermediate mode there. Now this is beginner mode on this windy day. Let me give it a little downward trim too, to give us a little more speed. Fighting that wind, it's doing it. I'm doing zigzags in the air here. There we got some speed up on it now. It's a fast flyer with that two-bladed prop. It is a fast flyer with a two-bladed. Coming around, just bringing it in close. Going overhead. Now let's go back to intermediate. Why I want to go intermediate? I want to show you what you can do. Full throttle up, and you can do manual. Look at that. Cool, huh? Come out of the sun. I don't want to go into that sun. But yeah, did you see that, folks? What that can do? Let me go a little forward here, throttle it up again. Try to loop that time. Now, I haven't done let's go back to beginner mode because I want to show you the automatic loops. Oh, you got to give it throttle to do those automatic loops. Hold on. Coming around again into the wind on this breezy day. It wasn't supposed to be breezy today. I don't know what happened there, folks. But throttle it up a little more. Try roll. Aileron roll. Automatic aileron roll coming downwind. coming around on this breezy day. Every time I fly an airplane, it's a breezy day. I fly a drone, no wind at all. I don't know. But again, aileron roll from way up there in the wind. Actually, let's come down low and do that. I think we can do it low because the wind is just hovering in the wind, but let's try it low right there. Aileron roll in the wind. Cool. Yeah, let's come down low, 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 real low. Cutting the throttle. I want to see if I can fly it around myself here. Hardly any throttle at all right now. And there we go. Windy day, folks, windy day. One of my wheels came off. Let me put the wheel back on and find the propeller too before we go flying anymore here. It's in here somewhere in the grass. Okay, I found it. I took the wheels off, folks. I'm hoping that will give us a little more speed here in this wind, less drag from the wheels. So let's try it without the wheels. Boy, it's windy. But it's flying in it. I'll give you that. So this is even a windy day flyer. Look at it just hovering there. Yeah, the predicted wind speed today was supposed to be like 2 miles per hour. The weatherman lied. Coming around in that wind. Figure eights in that wind. Cool. Cool airplane. It actually looks really nice, don't it? Nice looking plane. It can do these stunts like that on a windy day like today. I don't know how it's flying right now in this wind. Well, it's because I took the wheels off, I guess. Less wind resistance. And I want to keep it low for the remainder of the flight. Wow, that's just crabbing in the wind right now. So following this, I do want to try to fly it with my jumper to show you that this can fly with a jumper. So keep that in mind. Let's try another aileron roll, automatic, and coming around. What was I trying to do before? Aileron roll into the wind. Automatic loop. Yeah, it did it. Automatic loop. Another automatic. So these automatic loops and rolls, they work real well. The automatic stunts of this airplane. Now the wind's calmed down. What's up with that, folks? Let me take advantage of that and bring it down low for you. Low. Zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Up there. Now come down, come back down again. Let's try the aileron roll again. So fun. Oh, I'm going to intermediate now. Let's do some manual stuff. Well, semi-manual. I can do loops, I believe, with this in mid-position. Mid-position I'm in right now. I'm not going manual today. Not with this wind. I can't bring it down. It's just gliding up there. It's doing a thermal right now. Riding a thermal right now. No throttle at all, folks. It's just riding a thermal. Okay, throttle it up now. And a loop. That's a mid-position loop, just pulling back on the stick. But you can't do rolls. But you can do barrel roll, I'm pretty sure. Let me try. Coming down, throttle up, barrel roll. By putting the stick diagonal. Come back down here now. Been staying too high because of this wind. Normally I'd like to bring it down real close like this, but it's hard to do today, folks, without hitting myself, because that wind's buffeting it big. But it's flying it. It's flying in this wind, which is amazing in itself. That's that auto stabilization system. You know, years ago that system was expensive to put in these planes. Now it's standard in these beginners planes. You know, normally you can't fly on a day like today, especially with these little things, these little puddle jumpers. But with gyro stabilization, yes, you can. Pushing down and throttle. Oop, oop. Am I in beginner? I'm trying. Well, that wind is really buffeting it. Come down here, you. I'm just barely giving it any throttle. Let's see if I can just hover it. Come back. I'm just going to try to hover it. Well, it is just hovering right there. See if I can hover it close. Whoa! Stalled it for a second there. It got buffeted. Windy day, flyer. Actually, all these Warbirds can fly on windy days in stabilization mode. I am not going to manual mode today. That will be a guaranteed nose in. Oh heck, let's try it. Manual mode. Back to automatic. You just can't do it on a day like today. Okay. So, in effect, the difference between this and, again, the BF109 V1 is you now have a clear canopy, and that automatic takeoff mode, I don't believe, was in the V1 version, where you can just press the button and take off, and it automatically climbs to the sky. So, to help beginner pilots from crashing into the ground on their takeoffs, that does come in handy, I guess. Okay, throttle in. Let's put it back in mid position. Now, mid position also gives you a lot more, it increases the rates, which is the bank angle and the pitch angles that you can do with this. Okay, and you can also do manual loops. But, yeah. Now, those increased bank angles would come in handy if there wasn't so much wind today. So I could come in and do a nice tight turn around myself. I like to do that usually, but I can't do that today because of the wind. Oh, here comes the little birdies trying to fight this thing. Little sparrows. Around and around and around. Automatic loop, automatic roll. Cool. This one does those real well. I'll give you, that's another thing. The others in this series, the earlier versions of these, had a hard time doing those automatic loops and rolls. This one doesn't. Does them real nice. Does them really nice. So if you're a beginner pilot, you can impress your friends. Say, look what I can do. Cool, huh? Zoom. Just press the button and move the stick, and away it goes and does it automatically. Well, we've been flying for a while, so yeah, this is a long flyer. As predicted by the company, Volantex EX Hobby. I have not seen this for sale on anybody else's website other than EX Hobby. Well, since they're Volantex, they're probably supposed to be the first ones to get this. That's not always the case, though, but in this case it is. Excuse me. I gotta be careful flying over my head. I always lose orientation as soon as I fly overhead and I can't find it again. I've lost an airplane already doing that. I landed in that field somewhere. Excuse me again. Coming down low. Lower. Because the wind's dying down. So I'm bringing it lower and closer. Lower and closer. And overhead, there we go. Fun plane. This is a fun one. Excuse me again. Too much talking here. Giving me a tickle in my throat. But I like it. I like this plane. It does those nice aileron rolls automatically. With the end loops automatically. Tickle again in my throat. Okay, they're cutting grass here. Maybe that's why I keep coughing out here. Every time I come out here, they're cutting grass. And allergies, in other words. I hear a puddle jumper plane, but he sounds high, so I'm going to stay down, and I'm down here below the trees, so I'm going to keep on flying here. I'm nowhere near his altitude. And I'm not going to go looking for him right now. Got to keep my eye on the plane. Nice. Nice little plane, this thing. I like this. It's a good plane. The BF109 here. V2 version. Another aileron roll. I was going to go to mid and do a lot of stunts with the mid mode, but it's flying really well in this beginner mode on this windy day, so I'm keeping it mostly in beginner mode. I'm probably going to do the same with the jumper when I fly it. I just want to demonstrate that the jumper can fly this, that you can fly it with a jumper. Zoom. Oh, I heard a chirp. It's telling me the battery might be getting low. Cutting throttle just to see it glide a bit. And throttle them back up. Okay, wind's died down a bit, so flying low and slow now. And close. This is what I wanted to do, folks. Can't do this when the wind's blowing real hard. I like doing these. Zooming around myself. Whoa, almost. Okay, oh, and that's it. Okay, that's not a very good warning. As soon as it starts chirping and the motor dies out. So, Volantex, you might want to adjust the controllers to give you a little more advanced warning of the motor dying out. Let me see if I still got the propeller on it. I still do. Okay. Let me throw in another battery, and we'll try it with the T-Lite multi-protocol transmitter. So hold on, folks, while I change batteries. Okay, I have it bound to the jumper. Now, I think I have this switch here set up for the tricks. Let's see if it'll do an automatic takeoff. So I click on this momentarily, and throttling up. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Unfortunately, no, that's not automatic takeoff button. So let's see, make sure everything's fine. Notice that I have the 3-position propeller on it right now. Why is that? Oh my. Okay, it looks like I need to do no, there we go. I'm checking its stability system here. It was a little bit tweaked there before. Okay, this time I'm going to manually fly it. No automatic takeoff. So throttling up, tossing it up, and flying it. Okay, we are in beginner mode. Again, because of the wind. But also I moved position. Notice over here now because the guy cutting grass. I want to stay out of his way. But yeah, I'm flying it with the jumper, just proving it that this does fly with the jumper. So for those of you who aren't too thrilled with using the stock transmitter, you can use your jumper to fly this. So, but I like, yeah, you know, all these Warbird transmitters, they all work with each other. So if you got one Warbird, it works with all the others. I don't know if they sell this separately. I haven't looked at the website to see if they sell this separately without the transmitter, if you want to just use your older transmitters from your other Warbirds. What am I doing here? Going through the sun. I tried to avoid that and I did it. But yeah, it's flying great with it, with the jumper. Now I like the jumper because it feels better in my hand for some reason. I just like the feel of it better. But there you go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it does automatic. You just taking over. Why is it doing that? Multiple loops. Coming down here, come down here. Why are you doing that? Okay. It's that position switch. It's doing automatic takeoff. This thing here. Let me check that again. Yeah. I guess when I hit this switch here, it's the stunt button switch, but it's not momentary. It stayed on, and it was trying to do that automatic takeoff for some reason, which is confusing it. So if you want to use the automatic stunt buttons on this, is what I'm saying, use the stock transmitter. It doesn't seem to be set up properly, at least on mine, to do the stunt buttons with the jumper. So keep that in mind too, folks. Let me see here. Are we stable? Okay, it seems to stabilize itself. So let's get back in the air with the three-bladed prop. By the way, the three-bladed prop seems to be flying smoother in the wind for some reason. Don't know why that either. So, but keeping in beginner. So yeah, I'm not going to touch that switch again. It was getting away from me there. But come closer. Come closer. Okay. Let me go a little higher and go to mid position to do that. Coming back down. I don't like it when it goes overhead. I lose sight of it every time. So I'm trying to keep it in front of me. Yeah, I was hoping to test that one key return and just demonstrate to you all how that works, but you don't want to do that on a windy day either. The problem with one key returns is if you're not flying in the direction it was set at, say off to the left or right behind or behind you, it actually can fly away from you. So I do not recommend using one key return, folks. But now, again, I'm using my jumper transmitter. I am not going to get a warning when that low battery, it's just going to drop from the sky. So in that effect, I'm probably not going to fly this for the full 15 minutes or whatever the flight time was like I did in the other flight. I'm just demonstrating right now that, yeah, you can fly this. Let me go back to mid position and try one more time, a loop. And bringing it back down. Goes up there and gets hit in the wind, and then it messes up the loop when it goes up high. So I'm not going to do that anymore either because of the wind today. Zoom. See if I can come down a little and closer. Closer and lower. Cool. Zigzag it with the wind. through the wind. So BF109, nice looking plane, really nice looking plane. It's actually a nice flying plane. It's pretty impressive that it can fly on a day like today. But most of the Warbirds can fly like this on a day like today with that stabilization system, which is very impressive, I gotta say, for these little birds. Let's go downwind, then come upwind and go zip by me. Coming down, coming around. Zoom. Then this way, through the sun, of course. No, I'm trying to avoid that sun. Blup, blup, blup. Wind. Okay, staying in the air on this breezy, what is today? Friday. Zuma. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. There we go. Zuma. Almost hit the ground there. Okay, we're going to call it quits here shortly. Again, I don't want to fly the whole battery because when you fly with the jumpers, you should time your flight so you don't kill the battery. But then again, this is probably going to have an LVC cutoff like it did before and just drop when it runs out of battery power. So let's bring it around, we'll land it, and give you my final thoughts. So cutting on the throttle, gliding it in, going up this way because the wind's from the back, bring it into the wind, and stalling it right there. So that's it. We'll call it quits there with the jumper. My final thoughts on this. This is a nice plane. Really good looking plane. Good flying plane. Does great in the wind on a windy day like today. Let's see, I lost my propeller again. It's supposed to do that. Okay, I'm going to put my 3-bladed propeller back on. By the way, again, the 3-bladed propeller seems to be the better propeller. I would suggest you fly with that. It seems to fly a lot smoother. But it is a fun plane, good looking plane. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed flying it. So hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.
Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.